Last year I got back on TikTok after years of not even opening the app, and I ended up on this algorithm that was a 1 month glow up kind of algorithm. All the videos would start with things like, if you want to be unrecognizable, or if I had a month to glow up, I would do these 5 things or whatever. And I had the time of my life on this algorithm. I learned so much about what all the girls are doing, all the cool skincare and makeup and home cleaning and organization, just all the fun things that were popular at the time. And a lot of the videos would touch on food and nutrition, but they would do it in a really vague and not terribly helpful way. Like, for example, a lot of them would say things like, oh, eat an anti-inflammatory diet, but then not elaborate on what that actually entails. So I've always thought it would be fun if I did almost like a companion meal plan, like a 1 month glow up menu or something. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So I chose a bunch of foods that are really mineral rich, really rich in micronutrients, things that'll just help you depuff, get the body tea, get the skin glowing, lift energy levels, elevate the mood, which we all know I need, and it's gonna be delicious. So we're starting with a warm spinach Caesar salad. Then we're doing a scallion and chive rice paper dumpling. And then we're ending our meal with a high protein, high fiber key lime pie. Yum. Let's get into it. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the filling for the dumplings. Now, I decided to pre-chop some of this stuff because my dad said it's really boring when you have to watch me chop everything up. So here we go, I tried my best. So we have cabbage, garlic chives, aka Chinese chives. I also got regular chives. Now, when I recipe tested this, I did not use regular chives. And then there's scallions mixed in with these garlic chives too, and ginger and garlic, and then tofu. I'm gonna go grab my recipe book to tell you the exact quantities that I did when I measured it, but I will say it's pretty loose. Measure with your heart, go with what you want. I will say the more kind of add-ins you use, the more flavor it has, the better it is. Plus you get more micronutrients, yada, yada, yada. But you know, you can improvise as you see fit. So I did 1 package of tofu, which, by the way, I buy this tofu sometimes because it works, and that's basically my name. I mean, there's 1 E extra, but it's basically my name. But here's what's really cool. I saw this on the side today. It says that, I don't know how this is pronounced, heiwa. Heiwa means peace in Japanese, which is so funny because hiba means violence in English. I'm just kidding. But you know, I'm not the most calm, peaceful person. Okay, anyway, so I did 1 package of tofu. I did about 3/4 chopped of cabbage. I feel like this is more. Like I said, I think it'll be fine. Ginger, measuring ginger is truly the bane of my existence. So I did weigh it. I used a 23-gram piece. I also described it as a fat thumb. So think like the length of my thumb, but fatter. 4 stalks of scallions, 4 stalks of garlic chives, 4 tablespoons of tamari, and 3 cloves of garlic. Again, you don't really have to measure it so precisely. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's everything that we're using. I'm gonna set up the camping stove and hopefully not set the house on fire. And then we'll get to sauteing. Okay, I have a feeling this isn't gonna be big enough, but I'm gonna do it anyway because apparently I don't care. While that heats up, I'm gonna spray some oil. I'm also gonna go open this and just drain the water out of it. We're gonna crumble it up in the pan, but not till some of the other stuff gets sauteed first. I came across this TikTok of this guy who does this song where he taps some EFT tapping points, not all of them. It's just here, 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 and here, I think. Something like that, yeah. And sings this song, and I can't get the song out of my head. Also, Ozzy and I have been doing it together. It's so fun. It goes, every single cell inside my body, every single cell is happy and well. I'm gonna stop singing it because I'm not good at singing, but it's so fun. It's so silly, but so fun. Anyway, I just want you to know the entire time I'm here filming this today, I'm singing that in my head. Oof, it smells so good already. Now, I will say in all of my recipe testing, there was only one time where I feel like I messed this up, and that was when I used too much ginger and I burned it. So just be careful with that. But other than that, I don't think you can go wrong with this recipe. I'm just gonna start crumbling up the tofu. Wait, this smells so good. All right, I'm gonna eyeball the tamari, but when I wrote down the recipe, I did 4 tablespoons. But this is a situation where, again, season it as you see fit. Go 1 tablespoon at a time, or in my case, just pour half the bottle on it. And if it's not salty enough for you, or if it's not, you know, umami enough for you, then keep adding more. It's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and move this to the stove so we can get going on our spinach. Okay, while that keeps cooking, let's get our spinach going. So I just put a little bit of water at the bottom of this donabe. Do you have to do that? No. You also don't have to use a donabe. I just wanted to because I'm gonna cook a ton of spinach and I love using this thing. So I just put a little water down. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna keep the heat pretty low. I don't really need it hot because it's not like I'm gonna sizzle it. And we're just gonna cook down as much spinach as we can. Oh, but one thing I wanted to do that I've never done other than just spill spinach everywhere, but that I have done before, not to brag. I wanted to add some wakame to it. I just thought it would be a fun way, this is dried wakame, I thought it would be a fun way to add extra minerals. Plus, I love the flavor of seaweed, not everyone does. If you're not into it, don't add it. You're like, there's just, here's my theory. I think that regardless of how healthy a food is, if you don't enjoy it, it's not gonna be good for you to eat it. Even something that's just like objectively so good for you, like seaweed. Seaweed is one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet, truly. Like different types of seaweed have different things, but by and large, there are few foods I can think of that have more minerals than seaweed does. But if you hate it and you're not gonna enjoy the process, then I actually genuinely think that the stress that you would endure from having to eat it outweighs any potential health benefits you would get from it, truly. But if you're open to the flavor of seaweed, like I'm obsessed with the flavor of seaweed, then I think it could be cool to add wakame to it. Again, I've never done it before, but I figure like between the water I put at the bottom of this and just like the natural water and spinach that it's gonna release, I feel like there's gonna be enough water to hydrate the wakame. We'll try it. I'll let you know if it doesn't work. Okay, I just turned the dumpling filling off, by the way. Also, I don't really know what to do in terms of like, should I add the wakame now? Should I you know what? We'll just crumble some in now and then move this whole thing to the back because it's just spinach wilting. I don't think we need such close eyes on this situation. And as it cooks down, I'm gonna add more to it. I can see the spinach moving in here. It feels like it's breathing the way it's moving. I really hope I don't come to regret adding the wakame in there. I don't know, I just feel like what's the worst that can happen? I destroy a bunch of spinach? Okay, I'm gonna add the spinach too, and then I'm gonna move the whole thing to the back. And I'm also gonna cover it actually. Okay, so I just left that on the lowest setting. We'll let it wilt and we're gonna do some other stuff now. Okay, let's make our dumplings. So excited. So I'm gonna make the sauce first. It's very simple. I'm doing just coconut aminos and rice vinegar in a roughly 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 kind of ratio. Ooh, stunning. And I'm using the same little bowl that I had the ginger and garlic in. I figured it could add some nice vibes, you know? Seems good. Okay, and our rice paper. So I only have 4 of these left, so I just ordered this pack of rice paper. It's different from what I was using here. I think they're all largely same. But the magic of these dumplings is, A, it's so easy to do using rice paper. B, I find that wet rice paper, when it's folded over itself quite a bit, gets a really chewy, kind of mochi-like texture. I'm literally obsessed with it. Like I'm not even doing it because it's like lower calorie or whatever. I'm genuinely obsessed with the texture. Like I prefer it to regular, I mean, there's so many different types of dumpling wrappers, but I prefer it to every single kind that I've ever had. So I'm just throwing it out there. The other thing with rice paper that I do that I find saves time is I just run it under the sink rather than filling a plate with water and dunking it in for 10 seconds. I find that it works just as fine, so. By the way, I would just like to issue a blanket apology to everyone I'm offending by calling these dumplings, because I understand this isn't how real dumplings are made. Like, I get it, but it's same vibe, you know? And I will say, even the biggest tofu hater, I think, would like these. Like, I've been making the filling and just storing it in the fridge, and Ozzy's been loving it. Like, he adds it to his rice bowls, like he just adds it to stuff. And Ozzy's not like usually a big tofu guy. Like, he's not seeking out tofu the way we might. It's really quite good. Also, I did not a great job of rolling that one, but whatever. And I'm doing this on top of parchment paper so it doesn't stick. You know, while we do this here, Sam is running her own show, which is something between musical chairs and, I don't even know, I can't even come up with anything fast enough. It's very distracting, I can tell you that much. Okay, this one's much cuter. I actually really wanted to play around with presentation of these, but the way I wanted to do it would have looked really cute, but it just isn't nearly as good, so we're keeping it like this. Also, I feel like I should put less filling in these. So maybe I'll do more like that, so it's less, like it's gonna fall apart when I eat it, those other ones, because I'm gonna have to bite in a few times, so maybe if I just make them more bite-size. Plus, like I said, the more the rice paper folds over each other, the more of that kind of chewy, doughy, starchy vibe you get. So let's try this. Also, I'm having PTSD flashbacks to the corn episode when I was doing the rice paper mochi, and just how terrible that looked for a while until we put the yellow thing on it, and then it looked really nice, actually. Let's do maybe 1 to 2 more after this. But as you can see, it's quite easy. Wow. These are getting worse and worse looking. It's okay though, I'm gonna sprinkle sesame seeds on top, so we're just gonna disguise the ugliness. And maybe even some chili crisp, I don't know. We'll see where the wind blows us. Ah! Okay, these are a little bit different texture-wise, but I think it'll be fine. I just want to make sure they're not touching each other, because they will get stuck to each other if they do. Also, something I wonder about literally every single time I use rice paper is, why does it have this kind of waffle print? Do you know? Because it seems like every brand of rice paper has it. Is it an integral part of making rice paper? Also, did you know that a lot of brands of rice paper use more tapioca than they do rice? Fun fact that you could learn from looking at the pack. I don't know why. I mean, I can surmise because of the stickiness. It's just interesting that it's called rice paper. It seems like maybe calling it tapioca paper would be more accurate. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. How can we help you? Okay, let's get to plating, styling, and eating. Yum. Okay, for the dumplings, some are more aesthetically pleasing than others. Wait, that dipping sauce smells heavenly. But what we're gonna do, again, really wanna make sure they don't touch each other because they're so sticky. But here's what I'm thinking. Maybe we cover the ugliness with some gochujang flakes, which are just Korean chili flakes, and some sesame seeds. Yes, okay, much better. I mean, does it really look like dumplings? No, no, it does not. But it's gonna feel like dumplings. So let's eat. Flawless. I have no words. I want to taste one of the ones with the new rice paper, just to see how the new rice paper is. That is delicious though. Also, quick fun fact. No, I love how I just have stuff all over my lips. Did you know that sesame seeds, when you eat them whole, you absorb far fewer calories than they should have? I guess our body can't break down all of them. Same thing with almonds. Look it up. And no, it's only if you eat them in whole format. If you buy tahini or something like that and it's already blended, then it's already kind of pre-digested. Same thing with like almond butter, you're gonna get the full shebang. But if you were to eat whole almonds with the peel on them, you don't absorb all of the calories. It's very interesting. It's interesting. This rice paper legitimately tastes different than the other one. Like, well, not tastes different. It's more like it's a different texture slightly. That is so good. I'm sure my teeth are just filled with sesame seeds. I could eat this whole thing right now, and I'm quite frankly kind of zoning out as I'm eating it because it's so good. So let's move on. Let's do our dessert. Let's eat that, and then I'll let you go about your life, I guess. Okay, so here's our cooked spinach with the wakame. From what I can tell, the wakame worked out quite nicely. It is very slimy, but I like that. Not to be gross, but I really do like that. Let's talk our dressing. So this probably took 15 years off my life. I have had so much Caesar over this past week. I have tested the fuck out of this, truly. It's gone through so many iterations, and I already had a pretty good vegan Caesar dressing recipe, but I really thought I could improve upon it. I thought I could make it creamier while adding more protein and fiber and actually making it lighter, and I really did accomplish that. Now, did it cost me like $100 because I bought every single regular Caesar dressing I could find so that Ozzy could taste test and have them side by side and tell me if mine actually tastes like real Caesar? Nevertheless, I do think it was worth it. And what's really cool about this is it has between 1/4 to 1/3 of the calories as regular Caesar and 4 times the protein, which is crazy. Plus it has fiber. This for about 2 tablespoons, this dressing, I mean, not the spinach, has 0.7 grams of fiber, which is not a negligible amount. versus real Caesar obviously is 0. So let's talk about what is in this version. So it's 1 lemon. I just peel the lemon and use the whole thing. If you want to squeeze the juice out, it's fine. I just find this way you add a little bit of fiber and it's less time intensive, but I don't think it's a big difference. And then 1 package of the Mori New Silken Tofu, the one that hopefully by now you're just ordering by the case from Amazon because we use it in so many recipes. 3 tablespoons of dulse flakes. You can start lower and add more as you go. The reason we use dulse, other than the intense micronutrients, I mean, the nutrient benefits in dulse are out of this world, but the real reason we do it is it replicates fish sauce or anchovies that's in real Caesar dressing. 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I actually really would recommend starting with 1 and then increasing it. 3 tablespoons of miso, and actually the combination of nutritional yeast and miso I find does a good job at replicating the Parmesan that's in traditional Caesar. 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. We use this because real Caesar has Dijon mustard, but also it's an emulsifier also. So real Caesar usually, like the best real Caesar, uses mayo as the base. And so I almost replicated my high protein vegan mayo in this recipe, if that makes sense. So that's part of why we use it. It's a good emulsifier. And again, real Caesar uses Dijon. Should I stop listing why I picked every ingredient and just get through them? 4 tablespoons of olive oil. That is it. That's the only oil that's in this dressing. Like, that's why this is so light. 4 tablespoons of tamari. This is one of the things I tweaked the most in recipe testing. It's an easy one to increase gradually though. You can start with 1 and keep going. I do find that 4 is when I hit my stride, and Ozzy thought that it tasted like real Caesar. I nearly said real mayo. 2 cloves of garlic and a half a teaspoon of whole black peppercorns. Now, let me just explain this real quick. The reason I used whole is because black pepper is an important part of Caesar. And because it's important, I thought it was important for it to have the most like fragrance and flavor. And so you get that from using whole peppercorns. If you only have ground black pepper, or you don't want to use whole for whatever reason, bring it down to a 1/4 teaspoon of ground pepper. But because we used whole, we did a half a teaspoon. Okay, that's it. Oh, and then so that I don't forget, we're gonna toss the spinach with the dressing, and then when we plate it, we're gonna add crushed shredded wheat. Shredded wheat is basically just made of wheat bran. Wheat bran is the richest source of insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber is the type of fiber that makes you shit your pants. I'm just kidding. It's the type of fiber that increases gut motility, so things move faster, which some of us need. That's why I like to use these as crunchies now. So I'm just gonna crush them up and we're gonna sprinkle them on top. This is just dried minced garlic. It's an insane amount of it. I wish the packaging wasn't so big. I ordered it on Amazon. I'll share the link. This is dried soy sauce and dried miso. We're gonna flake both on top. I think they look really beautiful. We're gonna grate some tempeh on top because it has the same aesthetic and honestly mouthfeel as Parmesan. Obviously tastes different, but similar. And I'm gonna add extra fresh lemon on top. Let me explain why. A, I love lemon. B, lemon is really rich in vitamin C, and I want it to be really, really fresh so it has the maximum amount of enzymes and stuff. But spinach is really rich, not only in protein. Spinach is very rich in protein, just saying in case you didn't know, but also it's really rich in iron, like really, really rich. And if you've ever been vegan or not eaten meat, you know how hard it can be sometimes to hit your iron goals. Like I have a really hard time with it. And the thing with plant-based iron is it absorbs far better when it's paired with vitamin C. That's why we're gonna add some fresh lemon on top. I'm also gonna zest some lemon just purely for aesthetics on top. Okay, so let's toss this and then we'll get to plating. I just wanted to explain all the plating components before we got there. This actually, the way this looks reminds me of Have you had Japanese spinach salad before? It's tossed with like a very creamy sesame dressing. Oh, I love that shit. Okay. That looks so nice and creamy. It also kind of looks like cream of spinach, like from a steakhouse. Fun fact. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'm not going to stop. Fun fact. I have a really easy time eating at steakhouses. I find that they have so many sides. It's honestly kind of a dream come true. Like it's the exact opposite of what you'd think. But I will say a lot, so I don't eat out often, right? Because I'm always doing this shit. Especially these days. I don't know if you've noticed, but I feel like I've leveled up quite a bit. And I'm just testing my recipes so much because I really want you to have the best possible recipes. And so for me, everything that I make, like what I'm filming right now, I've been eating it all week over and over and over again. So I just don't have room in my stomach to eat out basically at this point. That being said, you know, we used to travel, and I say used to because of Sam, like we really don't anymore. Also, if you really like black pepper, you can crush black pepper on top too. I find that the soy salt, which is just dried soy sauce, has the same kind of aesthetic as freshly ground black pepper, and I just like the flavor more, so that's why I'm doing that. Okay, this is ready for plating. Anyway, I feel like a lot of my eating out experience was from before I started really upping my protein intake, and I never really had a particularly hard time eating out being vegan, but now that I eat more protein, I have a harder time because like I can always find a vegan option, but I'm not always gonna find a vegan option with protein. And so I'm just really kind of playing around with what I can do to address that whole phenomenon, that problem that I have. Okay, enough chit chat, let's plate, let's eat. Okay, so I'm just gonna put the spinach in this prettier, less messy bowl. Now, I'm gonna just make some lemon peel ribbons, and then you can cut into this lemon and just squeeze a little on top. Grabbing my tempeh. Okay, this really does look like a bowl of cream of spinach. Look at that. Stunning. Water crunchies. Lots some crystallized shoyu. And some dried miso. Wow. Looks adorable. I don't know how much I like the addition of the lemon, but whatever. It's not bad. I feel like, nah, I thought about adding edible flowers, but I don't know, I kind of like it as it is. It smells unreal. Okay, let's eat. I thought this was gonna be good. It's 20 times better than I expected. Also, I love the wakame in there, but again, I like wakame. It's so lemony and yummy and creamy. It really has the mouthfeel of cream of spinach. Creamed spinach. I mean, cream of spinach is a soup. Creamed spinach is what I'm thinking of, which, gross. Not gross, like just creamed as a word. Disgusting. Anyway, this is delicious. I think this is genius because cooked spinach is probably one of the healthiest things you can eat. And I say cooked because you just get more spinach in cooked, you know what I mean? And it's just so good for you. And this is like a really fun way to eat it. Also, the shredded wheat. Oh my God, I didn't even add these guys. Pretend they were there the whole time. Okay, good chat. It's gonna be 20 times better with the dried minced garlic on top. It's even more crunchy now. And the extra lemon on, it's so good. I know you might think I'm lying because it's basically a bowl of spinach. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite things I've eaten. Okay, honestly, I could be here all day. So I think we should move on and make our dumplings. Okay, it's finally time for dessert. Now this is again something I've been eating ad nauseum. Like truly, I'm actually going crazy from eating this. But I really had this vision of creating a dessert that's like the same nutritional value as a very light smoothie or almost like a green juice. And I had a vision of how to make it happen, but it took a lot of testing to really get it to the texture and the consistency that I want. And I also, you may notice, so I already plated some of this into a glass, but there's no crust on the bottom, and that's because we're just gonna play with the presentation of this. And I also have never been like a big traditional crust kind of girly. So instead of having a crust on the bottom, we have almost like the filling like in custard style here. And we're gonna crush, again, some shredded wheat on top for the insoluble fiber. And we're gonna add some peeled and roasted chestnuts too. I'm gonna just like chop these up finely and add them to the crust crunchies. They're sweet, are they rich in fiber? Yeah, they're not bad in fiber, but they're honestly just like really sweet and nice and just add a really nice kind of flavor to the whole thing. And then, okay, as far as I'll explain what's in this, I did so many different versions of this, and at first I couldn't even find key limes, so I used regular limes. And then I ended up just buying key lime juice, and I used that. I still can't say how different it really is and like how much the whole thing matters, but I do have some key limes for styling purposes for today, and I'll show you what I want to do with them. But first, let's just go over what is in this. So I did 1/3 cup of key lime juice. Again, I think you can sub regular lime juice. Wait, before I get into this. So I used 10 grams of dried sea moss, not sea moss gel, dried sea moss. And I soaked it for a really long time, like close to 20 hours. It doesn't need that long, but you do want to soak it for a really long time. And then the other thing that's really, really, really important anytime you use hydrated, previously dried sea moss is blend 5 times longer than you think you should. Like truly blend it until you think your blender is gonna explode. Blend it until smoke starts coming out of your blender. Like really, really, really blend it, because that's the only way that sea moss truly works. It's just, we use it as a thickening agent. I mean, it is supposed to have some health benefits. I don't know, whatever. It is really rich in, you know, minerals and micronutrients, blah, 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 but we are using it as a thickening agent. So I did about 10 grams, oh, it was exactly 10 grams. I don't know why I'm hedging by saying about, I weighted. It was literally 10 grams, but I've also done this exact version with just 3 grams of dried sea moss. I can't say that it was that different. Anyway, 1/3 cup of key lime juice. And hold on, you know what? Let me just grab the key lime juice that I used to show you. Okay, so this is the key lime juice. I think this is like the big brand that people love using. Also, we use this yogurt in it, so I just grabbed it too. I will link everything, but you know, sometimes a little negligent with doing that. Okay, anyway, 1/3 cup of the lime juice, 1 cup coconut water, 1 package of the Morinu silken extra firm tofu, 5 pitted medjool dates, the 10 grams of sea moss. Again, it was 10 grams and it was dried before I hydrated it. A pinch of sea salt. I like to use Celtic sea salt. I'll link the one that I use. They say it has the most minerals in it. Whatever. 5 tablespoons of this yogurt. This both adds fat. This is our only fat source. It adds protein and it thickens the whole thing up. 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 1 cup of raw spinach. The spinach is primarily to add more color to this, but it also doubles by just adding more nutrients too. I'm just gonna take 3 chestnuts maybe I've never done this. They look like little brains. You know how everyone loves talking about walnuts and how they're good for the brain because they look like brain, which doesn't feel like flawless logic, but that's neither here nor there. Like, not to be inappropriate, but I can think of many, many, many foods that are phallic. And to my knowledge, not one of them is good for penises. So I just don't think that that analogy holds. But again, doesn't matter. But yeah, no one really talks about like the chestnut. You know what? I think in general, people don't talk about chestnuts enough. I was snacking on a few today. They are delicious. And as we get into colder months and more like Christmassy recipes, I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of chestnut work on the show. So get excited for that. I'm just going to crush up some of these shredded wheat. They just add a nice crunch and, like I said, lots of insoluble fiber. Oh, also blend it really, really, really well. And then it needs to sit in the fridge overnight to set. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Also, if you're fine with it being less thick, you can omit the sea moss. I order it on Amazon, though. It's not hard to procure. But what you cannot do, do not DM me and ask me if you can do this. Do not do this and then DM me and say the recipe doesn't work. You can't use store-bought sea moss gel. It's not gonna work. They use, truly, like having worked with dried sea moss quite a bit now, I can tell you, they probably use less than a gram of dried sea moss in a giant jar that they're selling you for like 25 bucks. You can get like hundreds of grams of sea moss for the same price if you just buy it dry, hydrate it, and blend it yourself. Now, I got out my X-Acto knife set because I have a vision of something I want to do with these limes. This is the whole set. I only ever use this one. I want to do this kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. Let me find the prettiest one. Okay. So I'm going to do this kind of like, I don't even know what it's, really, ow, don't know how to describe it. Hold on. Let me tighten this blade up. Okay, it's like a zigzaggy kind of pattern. So I'm just pushing the knife in this way and then this way. I don't know if you can see this that well. Then this way. Also, the reason, yeah, these do smell different from regular limes. By the way, did you know that regular limes are actually called Persian limes, I think? Wait, don't quote me on that. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, let's see if this worked. Well, it appears no. Oh, God. Okay, well, the blade came off my X-Acto knife, so. Ooh, this one's way better, actually. So I'm just pushing the blade in further to make sure the whole center is coming apart. No. Anyway, the reason I wanted to use coconut water in this was so that I could sweeten it while using fewer dates and add a ton of potassium and hydration to the whole thing. That's how it fits into this kind of like glow up menu. It's so hydrating. Jesus Christ. Oh God, okay, well, that kind of looks like shit now that I've done it. I don't think we'll be using that. I don't know, what can I do for styling? Let me see if I can cut this into, I'm really improvising. I did not think that would look bad. That was my whole styling vision for this. Like a slinky? What am I gonna do with that? Okay, well, I'm so happy I'm wasting all this key lime. You know what, let's get some ribbons of lime peel. I think that might be. These I don't hate. I don't love either, but. And you know what? I'm gonna take one of these and just slice it, I guess. Well, who knew after all these fancy little things, just slicing it was gonna be the thing that was gonna look the best. Also, you don't need an X-Acto knife for this. It's just that my other knife I used on dumpling stuff, so. Okay, let's plate it and let's eat it. Okay. I mean, all that I envision for the plating of this really is just sprinkling some of this on top, some of this, and there. It's adorable, right? Okay, I think that's so cute. Let's eat. Mmm. Mmm. Mmm, 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 mmm. Okay, crunchy's stunning. The chestnut on top, beautiful. But the filling itself, it's an interesting combination of both light and tangy, but also creamy and decadent. It's so good. Plus, this whole thing has 1/5 of the calories as real key lime pie, about the same protein. Apparently key lime pie has quite a bit of protein because it's a lot of eggs. And then we're looking at, in this cup, I think around 10 grams of fiber, which is quite a bit. I love this. Yeah, that's really, really nice. Little lime peel on top, really add something extra. Oh my God. That was the perfect meal. And listen, I feel like a lawyer would advise me not to say this, but I passed the bar, so I can advise myself. If you were to truly make these recipes and eat them consistently, I can guarantee you would have a glow up in a month. Like, you would end the month feeling so much better, more confident, more vibrant, more energetic. Like, you would glow from the inside out. Your skin would be brighter and clearer. You wouldn't feel as puffy and inflamed. I'm telling you, life-changing recipes. Plus, like, you'd feel satisfied. Like, it's not like you'd feel like you're eating like gross diet food. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. Love ya. Thanks for being here. If you enjoyed these recipes, if you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, subscribe, all the fun things. I'll see you next week. Bye. Every single cell inside my body, every single cell is happy and well.